Richard McPherson, you're back.
I'm back, and I'm glad to be back.
I'm glad you're back.
A lot of stuff going on. And in the state of Idaho, almost all of it is positive.
Man, I love to hear that. Can I tell you something just real fast?
Sure.
After you today, I'm very excited for today. Not just are you coming, but I have Nick Fasciano with Idaho Wildlife Federation coming, and he's bringing elk sausage and steak, and we're going to eat elk for lunch. It's going to on an episode. It's going to be fantastic.
So I revised my opinion of you just in the last few seconds. I hate you.
It's going to be so fantastic. It's going to be, I love every second of living here. I have now that the sun goes down earlier, my boys, again, 3 boys, almost every single night, we have some fire pit in the backyard, and they're running around like Indiana Jones. The new thing they do is they get sticks, they light them on fire, and then they run throughout the yard trying to like see how much they can see, like a big flashlight. Like, I'm 100,
cool.
Dude. And we were whittling last night next to the fire because like we were trying to do marshmallows, but I couldn't find the sticks. So like we whittle, and it's like they've never been happier. They love it. It's the best thing ever. And it's like, this is so great. Like they're not asking to go watch TV. They're not asking to play video games. They're like, let's light some stuff on fire and go, Dad. I'm like, done, son. Here we go. It's pretty awesome.
You should be an example of what a father and son should be.
I don't know about that, but we have a good time.
But you have a good time. Now, I got custody of my son when he was 6 years old. Been very traumatized with my ex-wife and her new husband. I was warned about all these things by these psychologists. You got to do this. You got to do this. You can't do this. You can't do that. The only thing that made a difference was he and I being together doing things. That's all. If I would, first of all, I went out and bought a bunch of books. How to raise your children. Those are worthless. They are worthless. It is one day at a time, and your child is teaching you. You're not teaching your child anything, but the one thing above all else we ever did, us spending time together made the difference.
Yeah.
And we were living in San Diego. I was in the Navy, and not every weekend, but almost every weekend, we would go up in the mountains of the desert together. And that's what we did. But it's the togetherness time that makes the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, again, I say it frequently. I'm not very bright, but I understand.
Yeah.
Time together, doing those fun, ridiculous things, just having the hang. Just the bro hang. I got this
just
little...
the hang. That's right. That's the greatest term I could come up with.
I'm going to show you a video, and it's actually one that I'll be able to put up on the screen. But it was one that I took last night, and it was great. It was like, here's my son next to the fire, just whittling a stick. There it is. And then at 7 o'clock at night, we're just hanging out, and he's got this knife, and he's trying to whittle down this point.
How old is your son?
That guy's 9.
You can't give a knife to a 9-year-old. Don't you know that?
Well, it was a razor blade.
Oh,
it's different. It's a blade. It's not a knife.
There's people that are going to find out where you live, and they're going to come to your house.
They're going to come.
And they're going to say, this dangerous thing that you've given your son. What kind of father are you?
You should have seen what we were doing 5 minutes before with a hatchet. Anyway.
Well, I was 12. No, that's not true. I was 13. And I got my first single shot 22.
Oh.
And I used to drive it on my bicycle from Sunnyvale, California to Stevens Creek, where I could shoot against a mountain safely. Could you imagine today living in Sunnyvale, California with a 22 rifle on your bike?
On your BMX.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And going through Sunnyvale and Cupertino and throughout the Silicon Valley and going back to Stevens Creek Reservoir. There is no possible way you could make it the whole way without a SWAT team coming out to get you.
I had this guy, Raul Garcia, on a year or two ago. He works school security. He's also an incredible marksman. This guy does, high-end professional marksman competitions, things of that nature. Anyway, he was telling me, he was like, grew up in Eastern Idaho, and at 12, he would just go with his friends. They'd get their shotguns, just jump on their little BMX 1-speed, chrome bikes, GT Intercept or whatever, and just like go shoot pheasants or whatever it was. But yeah, 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like, 6th grade, just riding down the street with their shotguns, going to do. It's like, yeah, it's a lot. Anyway, so look, the education today. This is what we're talking about.
Well, I want to talk about education because education made the difference in my life. When I got custody of my son when he was 6 years old, I was a parent who went to PTA meetings. And that's when I started learning how bad our educational system was. Some good teachers, but the overall system was bad. So coming to Idaho, in 2018, Governor Butch Otter put out a executive order. And in the executive order, one of the things that he directed was that there be a educational system for nuclear. And I've showed you a copy of the order, and he very specifically says that in 2018. Who pointed it out to me was a guy by the name of Doug Sayre in eastern Idaho. Doug grew up here, started his business here, Premier Technologies. Probably, in my opinion, and I've been around nuclear forever, probably the best company in the country that does what he does. He's right here in Idaho. Employs a bunch of people.
There were, if I may, there were three things in particular that were on this that you brought in today, and I'll pop a picture of this up on the screen.
Sure.
But the first one is through executive order, Idaho through the Line Commission 3.0 will develop new public-private programs and policy partnership nationally and internationally that promote, establish, and grow this advanced reactor industry. And number two, the Idaho State Board of Education will develop career technical education programs and training opportunities in nuclear energy and advanced reactor manufacturing. And number three, Idaho will partner with CAES and the INL to develop additional research for improving advanced reactor energy technology, security, and safety. And then again, there it is.
So somehow I lived here and I missed that. But Doug Sayre brought it up to me because I was talking to him about education one time. And to go back in time, in 2009, friends of mine and I recognized people who were in the utility industry that had nuclear power plants. They recognized that they get a master's, somebody that graduates from a nuclear engineering school with a master's degree. And they recognize that it takes them 2 years to train them before they're really useful in their company. 2 years. So I asked around, starting with a guy by the name of David C. Clue, and I said, would you guys be willing to help these universities? What do you mean? So I told them something simple. Because I think all of us were graduates of the Navy Nuclear Power School. It has been the preeminent source of nuclear power plant operators and maintainers since 1951. So they said yes. So that caused us to embark on a program here in Idaho with the help of a professor who was in charge of advanced or graduate level nuclear engineering at the University of Idaho. He'd been doing it for a long time. He'd been doing it at Ohio State for like 30 years, retired. University of Idaho wanted to upgrade themselves. They found him. He was willing to come out of retirement and come here, and he ran their program. So I talked to him, and I talked to a couple of other people that knew about education in the state, and they all agreed to help. So in 2020, 2019 and 2020, we put together a program called the Advanced STEM Program for Idaho, and we covered we were going to cover all 232 high schools. We went to all 4 of the state colleges, and we went to both of the universities. And the program was all put together, and everybody was for it except one person at one of the universities. And he stopped it. The governor's Workforce Development Council was behind it. Everybody was behind it. So that caused me to think why would anybody try to stop education that's needed. Now, going back to 2009, I sent a letter to every university that had advanced education in nuclear. I only got responses from two. One was Oregon State University, and the other one was from USC in Southern California. The Oregon State University program is still going. They didn't need much help. It was probably about the best program in the whole country. In the case of USC, they wanted one. And it turned out that on the staff in the engineering school there was a guy that had known me since 1975. He walked in the room and he said, I couldn't believe it when I saw your name was there. And Isaac came in the room and on and on and on. So it started at USC. It only lasted 2 years. And then the money guy at USC said, if you don't have a minimum of 7 students next year, I'm canceling the program. I'm not going to fund it. So it was canceled because of funding. It's not that USC doesn't have the money. USC has more money than God. But it was canceled because somebody decided it was about the money. So here we are today. Butch Otter put together the Line Commission when he was governor. Back in 2001 to 2014.
And I'm sorry to interrupt. The Line Commission is that line is an acronym, right?
Leaders in Nuclear Energy.
Okay, great. So the Line Commission is, okay, all the leaders, all the players that would be engaged in this, including people from water, including people from education, including people from manufacturing.
Chosen by the governor.
Right. And these are, because I looked at the Line Commission roll call essentially, and there are people from like water on it, like my buddy Paul Arrington, who's the executive director of the water users. It's like, oh, okay, so this is they aggregated a bunch of people that would be stakeholders within a nuclear industry for various reasons, right? Like a lot of, pressurized water reactors and things of that nature, or light water reactors. You need water, right? You need a lot. Not that that's going to be the future, but again, you need players from all industries.
Water is today.
Right.
There's 2 things that you got to get through the day with, and one of them is electricity and the other one is water. But going back to when I found out about the Line Commission, I was on the U.S. Critical Infrastructure Protection Forum. We had a meeting in 2013, I think it was. Guy comes in and he says, I've got a paper. There was about 15 of us in that particular meeting. He said, I have a copy of this from all of you. And he said, I want you to read it and I want to talk about it. And it was the Line Commission from Idaho. And it was a report that had just been done, and it was signed by a guy by the name of Jeff Sayer. So we went through it, and to a person we said, every state in the union should have a Line Commission. Everybody in that room, and these were smart folks in that room, not simply about nuclear, but about critical infrastructure in the United States and why nuclear was so important. So here I am. I had no idea I was going to move to Idaho 2 years later, 3 years later, 2 years later. But we had already seen this Line Commission. We'd already seen the report from establishing it. And we all agreed that every state in the union should have it. That's how far ahead Idaho was in 2012.
So now, what is the state of the education? I mean, obviously you're saying that you kind of hit a grinding halt. What's the state of the education around not just nuclear research, but essentially CTE programs and training for advanced manufacturing? Because I would presume that you're like, hey, man, we need more nuclear welders. We need more, profession X or tradesman X with advanced skill sets that would be sufficient to engage in this type of manufacturing.
I don't think we have one in Idaho. But to this governor's credit, he wants to reestablish it.
This governor, as in Governor Little?
As in Governor Little.
Gotcha.
And I hope that he keeps going. And behind him, supporting him right now, is a bunch of legislators that are working. They're not being paid because they're out of session, but they're preparing themselves for this next session. And you had one of the leaders of that on your show, I think.
Representative Hill.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he is about as aggressive as a wounded shark in a therapy pool. But that's his nature because he's a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
He's been a naval aviator and fighter pilot his whole life. As a matter of fact, he still is under contract with the Navy in the aggressor squadron that goes up and flies against upcoming naval aviators that go through Top Gun down in Fallon, Nevada. And to quote him, sort of, he says, I like going out and kicking these young guys.
Yeah, he's when you meet him in person, you realize what a force of nature he is.
Oh, he is. And he's from Idaho.
Yeah.
He's from Idaho. So he's a kid that came home.
Yeah.
Now, you can't hope. Now, that's where Idaho has had a big advantage that has not been taken advantage of. So the Navy nuclear power program ran over 30,000 students through the Idaho National Reactor Testing Station. There's a prototype up there of 3 reactors. They're all gone now. But I was one of them. In 1964, I went through A1W up there. It's the one for the USS Enterprise, the aircraft carrier. It's a great big thing. And when I first saw it, compared to the one for the submarines, I thought, who hated me so much as to send me here? But that was the first reactor I got qualified on. And that was good because after A1W, every power plant I've ever seen has been easy. So get back to education and specifically nuclear. We are on the road, it appears, to pay attention to that and pay attention to what we have not paid attention to in this state since 1951 when the first reactor went critical. Because it's not just that this reactor went critical. It's that the people had to come here with the knowledge, with the education, with the expertise to be able to put EBR-1 in operation, had put the first nuclear submarine reactor in operation. And those two alone, coupled with his knowledge since he got out of the U.S. Military Academy in 1915, is what caused President Eisenhower, gave him the confidence to stand up in front of the United Nations and give his famous speech called Atoms for Peace.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. I have read it. I have watched it on TV. Many times over the years. We're about to do the same thing, I hope, in Idaho. The governor has a conference, a get-together summit here in town on December the 4th. I'm hoping that it will stimulate much further people in Idaho to pay attention to education, to pay attention to nuclear, pay attention to electricity. Right now, electrical-wise, 100% of the United States is at risk from having no electricity that is secure. You hear these people that are advertising on the radio and TV about your pension and safeguarding your pension. What they're not talking about is you have to have electricity to safeguard your pension. All these investments we have made, you've made this investment in this studio, all 100% at risk because we don't have protected electricity. You go to any company that processes something. You got company that processes beef. You got company that processes steel, aluminum, wood, leather.
Produce, Del Monte.
Produce, all of them.
Yeah.
They are 100% at risk. And that's what people can't get their heads around and don't open up to. Yeah. And a big part of it is education. Our schools are not educating kids about electricity. Our government is not educating people about electricity. It's important.
So we have the Line Commission. We have the executive order from 2018 from Governor Butch Otter. We have a governor now that's looking at this in a serious manner, saying, "Hey, man, we got to get this rocking." Is the next step to bring education leaders together and present a curriculum, or is there like a value proposition or a pitch that has to happen?
Well, we got started in 2019 and early 2020 was a good step. It hasn't been taken yet. As a minimum, I would go back to that. Teachers, as teachers, individuals, they're teachers mostly because they want to teach.
Sure.
So you got to get to the teachers. You got to give them something that they can use to work with.
Sure.
At the same time, take advantage of who is here. We have people in Idaho that have been involved in nuclear. Not forget the Idaho National Lab for a moment. We have people that have been involved in nuclear here for decades. One of the first ones is a company up in Idaho Falls called Curtiss-Wright. I would suspect that Curtiss-Wright has been here since the early 1950s. They're very quiet. They don't talk much, but they've been here that long. You've got Premier Technology since 1996. If I was to go to one person in the state to find out the history of nuclear in this state or the failure of not to have nuclear in this state, I would go to Doug Sayre, who he and his wife founded Premier in 1996. Then you've got myself. I came up here to retire to learn how to fish. And it took 3 months for the nuclear people to find me. So I decided that they're not going to give up, and I decided to get involved and try to help out. Some people think that and it's because I'm old, that I'm the most knowledgeable person in nuclear in the United States. I have no clue, but what I do know is I know a lot, and I'm trying to give back, and I want to give back here in Idaho. I want to help make Idaho-centric as far as the world leader in nuclear power as it was in 1953. And there are a lot of other people climbing on board. And a bunch of the people that are organizing themselves that are actually legislators in this state want to do the same thing. And there is no reason why Idaho cannot be, within a year, the undisputed leader in the world.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know anything about nuclear, but I do happen to know some people, and not all of them dislike me. So I'm in, man. I very, very fortunately, I've been able to chat with President Wagner out of ISU quite a bit, as well as other individuals within education. It's like, yeah, man, let's figure something out. So, we could mainline nuclear curriculum.
And you mean John Wagner at the Idaho National Lab?
Both. Director
both.
Wagner and Robert Wagner, the president of Idaho State University.
Oh.
Yes, as well as President Gordon Jones from College of Western Idaho.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that was the same name over there in Pocatello.
Yeah, I believe spelled differently. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But the point is that the last conversation I had with President Wagner from Idaho State University was all about the different options for nuclear education at ISU. They have a reactor, they have a 2-year program, 4-year program, 6-year program, 8-year program. They have all these different programs. If you're interested, you can go. And I believe even for the 2-year program, you're capable of using the launch funding, which is roughly $8,000 to help offset the cost of school. We have a lot of programs. And again, all different levels of interest and investment. So again, getting that out, helping people understand. So again, when you were talking about USC, you make a decision based on, hey, look, is there even interest? If this program is costing us $100,000 or $200,000 to have in place, is there sufficient interest? Well, we all know that the vast majority of, or not the vast majority, but a lot of very competent youth are going to be interested in doing what they spend their time looking at, which is their phone. So people just spend an ungodly amount of time wondering, how do I become a YouTuber, or what do I see on YouTube that's interesting? If we help them see opportunities within the nuclear sphere off of their phone, they may actually be interested in going to ISU or engaging in these types of programs because, again, as a public university, not USC, as a public university, they do have to have a very specific calculus with, hey, is there a sufficient interest and participation in these programs to warrant the cost, whatever it might be? I mean, there are a lot of things.
And then two things that are here in Idaho that have not been taken advantage of like it should have been is not only did these people show up in the early 1950s at the INL, but we started running Navy nukes through there to qualify in a reactor. And like I said, there's over 30,000 of them that have gone through there. A bunch of them married girls from Idaho. A bunch of them just like Idaho and came back. I came back because I like Idaho. First time I lived in Idaho was 1961. And little did I know that I was going to the Navy nuclear power program in 1961. But I did, and I had a choice of going to 3 different places to do my reactor qualifications, and I chose Idaho. And the Line Commission, I read that report in 2013. People from all over the country, about 15 of us, said every state should have the same thing. Again, what Butch Otter put down as an executive order in 2018. Idaho has everything that's needed. We don't need anything else. Everything is here. The knowledge is here. We've got people that have worked at the Idaho National Laboratory for years that have retired. They've got a retirement group. We've now got people that have worked at the Idaho National Laboratory for their career, that one of them is now a senator here in the state. We have everything we need. We just need to execute.
Well, God bless it, man. I can't wait.
Me too.
We gotta write an email or something. We're gonna do it.
We too. We too.
Richard, thank you for coming in today. Thanks for hitting up. I had no idea about this executive order. I'm gonna ask some people if there is an actual execution on things like this, and if not, like, what do we have to do? Because it sounds good to me.
It does to me too.
Yeah. Thank you for coming in. We'll do it again.
My pleasure.